Hello and welcome to A Book in 5 Minutes with me, Lindsay Milner. This week I'm looking at a book that's a little bit different from the ones that I usually review. It's not a positive psychology, it's not a self-help book, a personal development, personal improvement book. It is an autobiography, and it is called Strong Female Character by Fern Brady. Now, Fern Brady is a Scottish comedian, and this is her story of how she struggled with autism for sort of most of her life up until I think late 20s or early 30s, not realising that she has autism. So it's a story of how the autism affects her and the things that she did in her life, how she dealt with it, how she coped with it, how she finally got a diagnosis. As she says on the back, I'm diagnosed with autism 20 years after telling the doctor I had it. So she told the doctor that she had it. The doctor dismissed her thoughts and she kind of accepted that. She took it, that the doctor was, oh, okay, then probably you know better than me, you're probably right. And so she let it go. So it's a story of how it's affected her and how she's had to deal with that throughout her life. She's experienced homelessness, she's experienced being in a lot of debt, not having enough money to get herself through university, being estranged from her parents for a while, not having their support, not having their understanding, how she dealt with the meltdowns that you have when you're autistic, and obviously she didn't know that that's what was causing meltdowns. It's a really moving read. I mean, because she's a comedian, people expect it to be funny, and obviously it is funny. You know, she's an excellent writer, she's an excellent comedian. It is interesting and funny and entertaining to read. At the same time, it's really quite heartbreaking. It's really moving that she had to deal with all of that difficulty throughout her teens, her early years. She calls it a my terrible Catholic childhood. So she talks about, you know, how difficult things were for her as a child, as a teen, when she was at uni, and even trying to make her way professionally. This was holiday reading for me. I bought this actually while I was still studying, but I didn't dare pick it up and start reading while I was still studying. So this was holiday reading, not sitting by the pool reading. I was on a city break, so it was more of a, well, let's go out and explore and have a day out holiday. But I didn't want to put this book down. It was so interesting, so engaging, and I just really wanted to know her story. And I think if you know someone with autism, or if you feel that you've got autism and you've struggled and haven't had a diagnosis, oh my God, it's eye-opening. I personally don't know anybody who really suffers with autism, or at least not in a really sort of life-challenging way, but it was heartbreaking at times. I just really feel for this woman that she's had to deal with this all of her life. I think I've said on here before that I suspect I have ADHD, and that's been undiagnosed my entire life, and it does answer a lot of problems, but this feels worse. It feels like the impact that that's had on her life is worse than the impact undiagnosed ADHD has had on my life. I know it's not a competition, it is what it is, but I do feel that, there needs to be a lot more understanding of how it impacts people and how you can take action to try and deal with it. And just a little bit of compassion and understanding rather than judgment and criticism. So I think this book is absolutely well worth a read, whether you have autism or not. It's very frank, it's very, the difficulties that she goes through. She talks about how she was working as a stripper, you know, she doesn't hold back. But it's absolutely, it's a gripping read, and it just makes me want to give, well, I can't give her a hug because she doesn't like hugs because she's autistic and doesn't like being touched. But honestly, virtual hugs, it's such an interesting read. I can't recommend it highly enough. That is Strong Female Character by Fern Brady. That's this week's book, 5 minutes. Until next time, I will see you soon. Don't forget to leave a comment if you've read this book, if you have autism. If you don't have autism and you want to get some more understanding, don't forget to leave me a comment. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. See you next time. Bye.